Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more relationship stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from TMTT, who says, my girlfriend 29 female was proposed to by her disabled friend 28 male. She wants to do it but still be with me 28 male. I am conflicted. My girlfriend has made it clear that she wants to stay in our relationship and that she loves me. The person she knows has been her friend since childhood and he is physically disabled. She has been close to him in a non-sexual way, writing letters and talking online every day to him for the last 2 years when he re-established contact. Well, last month he proposed to her. She accepted. She told me that she's going to do it and feels so strongly about it and won't change her mind. Ring and everything. This marriage is going to be just in name. She says they won't actually live together or have any romance or sex. It's more of a token than real thing. There are legal aspects of it as well. She says are just not a big deal and won't be relevant. I do not want another man telling people she is his. I do not want to be in a polyamorous relationship or for her to eventually invite him to live with us or something like that. If he convinced her to marry him, who knows what else he can convince her of. I also under no circumstance want to lose her. We have a perfect relationship for almost 8 years. She never hinted that she wanted something like this. I even dumped her because of it, because I was hoping that she would change her mind, but she didn't. She called my bluff. I was such a wreck that I came back to her after one day. She said of course we are still together, but she wants me to meet him to put my mind at ease. Another thing I said is, can she just do it for show, have a fake ceremony? She is set on an official marriage ceremony. I said do it for 1 week and then divorce, and she said that's up to him. I don't think she is cheating. This guy is wheelchair bound and burned. But I wanted to propose to her, and I'm scared he might try to game her somehow. So I'm currently sat here with my what the fuck face. I don't know what to comment on this. I've just got too many questions going through my mind. Like, what the hell is going on in this one? Kevlar asks a question saying, is this guy dying? What could be the possible benefits of her marrying him? How after 8 years of dating this girl have you not met this guy that's seemingly so important to her? Or being in a relationship for 8 years, your girlfriend has an astounding lack of respect for you. Opie says, I'd be alright with it if he was dying. It would make it easier. The more I think of it, I see this won't end with the marriage. It will be a clusterfuck for everyone. You guys are right, and I have to get out and hope she changes her mind. But my biggest worry about that is that she'll marry him for real then, and actually move in and have a real marriage with him. It kills me to think of this. And again, I'm trying to think of the situation that Opie was in when his girlfriend came into him and said, I'm engaged, and then like, what the fuck? But Kevlar replied to Opie again saying the real interesting part is how she believes that you breaking up with her for marrying another man makes you look selfish. Serious question. Is your girlfriend a little slow in the head? She'd have to be delusional to think that any rational person would be okay with this scenario. Do her friends know what she plans? Her parents? Abiding My Time asks, what are the legal aspects you refer to? Whether she thinks it's just a formality or not, there are legal considerations she might want to consider. For example, his debts become her debts. His healthcare could become hers. If he receives disability and she has a decent job, he could not qualify for benefits. Before she does this, out of pity, she needs to ask some hard questions about exactly why she is doing this. And this guy is asking her. A pity marriage for a week makes no sense to me. How would that make anyone feel better? Opie says exactly. Marriage has a legal obligation that she thinks they will both just agree not to follow. She normally doesn't make decisions this way, but she can be very stubborn, and the more I try to convince her not to, the stronger she feels about it. Evil Liv says, she accepts to marry another man, so how the fuck can you still be with her? How can you be so fucking stupid? Just say this out loud. The woman I love just accepted to marry another man, and I still want to be with her. And tell me you don't feel fucking stupid. Kumasi Blue says, in quotes, is saying I am misunderstanding that it's not a real marriage, and then says, does she understand how incredibly cruel it is to mislead a guy who thinks that it is a real marriage? I don't know of a polite way to say that your girlfriend is incredibly naive and inconsiderate. If she accepted another man's marriage proposal, inform her that the door is that away. I don't care if she thinks she's doing it for a good cause or some shit like that. She hasn't even thought through this 1%, let alone thought it through all the way. I wouldn't want to be life partners with someone who makes decisions this way. OP says no, the guy knows about me and that she's in a serious relationship. He knows the marriage will not be real. Now I'm thinking about it, that he did this on purpose. He knows I'll dump her and he'll try to convince her to marry him for real. And one more comment from Multi Rachel, who says, dude, this is literally insane. You've been together for 8 years and she accepts a marriage proposal from someone else who isn't even discussing it with you, and then tells you to just accept it because she's unwilling to change her mind. And then she downplays it as a token thing and insists that the legal aspects are no big deal. What the actual fuck? Sir, the reason gay people are fighting so goddamn hard for the right to marry is because the legal aspects are a big goddamn fucking deal. Guess what, guy? If she's in a car accident, he gets to visit her in hospital. You don't. If she's on life support, he can decide to pull the plug. You can't. If she dies, he gets her benefits and her property. You don't. He gets her insurance, her work benefits, her tax breaks. If she's declared mentally unsound or otherwise disabled, he gets to decide what to do with her. And in any kind of dispute, the court will side with him, not you. Because she actually signed a very real and legally binding contract with him. On a fucking lark. In total disrespect for how you would feel about it. Without even discussing it with you. That is the million megaton nuclear bomb of communication failures. Seriously. This is one step above gassing you and selling your organs and then expecting you to come crawling back to forgive her. You have no future with this woman. OP then comes back in with an update and says, thanks for all your messages. I know this is screwed up. My girlfriend is not dumb, but she's a bit sheltered. This is a long update because a lot happened and I'm trying to make sense of it. When I confronted her a couple of nights ago, she kept reiterating that this is a marriage with no romance attached to it, and that it will be the best day of his life. They'll probably have media attention on it because he was a soldier. She said she will still live with me and still be committed to me. She was saying I have no compassion or understand her intentions, and that made her sad. It made zero sense, but I could tell she was being stubborn and trying to justify it. She let me talk to him on the phone finally. Right away I knew he sounded off mentally. He told me he got his heart broken recently by someone who cheated on him and was planning to give my girlfriend the ring he got for the other girl. He said he doesn't want the ceremony for himself but for his parents to feel like they have a normal son, because it was their dream to watch him get married. I told him this makes me angry because I was planning to propose to her already and I will never be able to marry her now. I then lost control and told him that if he does this, I'm going to ruin his life. And then he said calmly that his life is already ruined. He didn't give a shit. I seriously wanted to fight him and I felt he enjoyed having that power. So then there was a big argument. Her father was furious about the whole thing and was just screaming at her. He was saying some mean stuff, calling her an idiot, immature, delusional. Then after a while, after he tears into all her arguments, she backs down and says it was never going to be a legal marriage anyway. Her mum kept on defending her, saying, let them do it. It's just for innocent fun. It'll make the boy's year. He was suicidal, blah blah blah. And her father kept saying, over my dead body, this is real life, not make-believe. We spoiled her. She should be focusing on her career, etc. I didn't know what to do, so I started to plan on how I would break up with her. But then the next day she contacts me and tells me the entire thing is dropped. She said it's not going to happen and it was stupid and she was never serious about it. That she just wanted to do good for somebody who was suffering, who she grew up with. But she didn't want it to come between her and me. She said she was being selfish and got tunnel vision. Today, I proposed to her. I love her too much to dump her. She is a 9.5 and I'm only a 7. I would never be able to do better. I know looks aren't everything. She's more than just a body. I told her it was on the condition we would have a long engagement and I'm disturbed about this whole situation that happened, and that if she didn't come to me with this news today, I would have ended the relationship. She told me to just forget it ever happened, and then to prove it to me, she took the friend off her Facebook list in front of me and said she won't even talk to him again. And there's a couple of edits after some comments, so I'll just give you a quick overview of the comments, and they were pretty much proposing to her right now is the most counterproductive thing you could do in this situation. People saying this is an absolute bullshit place to be, don't do it, etc, etc. And OP edited the post and says, I see you're all perfect and don't know what true love is. You all think she's a cheater, but she is not. She just has a really big heart. She goes out of her way to help people. Even beggars on the street, she will give them money. It's a headache still. Like she wanted to keep the guy's ring now because it's her first proposal ever. She's really sentimental that way, but I told her that's not acceptable to me and she's going to send it back to him with a letter explaining why she won't continue contact with him. Lastly, as for the comment about the 9.5 and 7, I don't see what the big deal is. I said she means more to me than just looks, but her looking great is a sign of beauty of what's inside her. Everyone wants to be around her and be in her life. It is really hard to deal with that as her boyfriend, always has been. So many times people drunk dial her or obsess about her with tons of phone calls. She still hasn't learned to be able to say no though, and she told me she will work on it. But in 8 years, she has never been unfaithful. I want to give her the best wedding now to prove to her I'm worth it. You guys might be right that she was testing me somehow. I do feel hurt and I don't completely understand it, but it isn't enough to dump somebody for just being naive or for wanting to get married. If I dumped her like you all wanted, that wouldn't solve anything. I'm just going to cover one of the comments that was in that section that says, "This is a sad update wrapped in happy words. Now was not the time to propose to her. You're ignoring everything that just happened. You were just shown that she's too immature to handle threats to a relationship until they get to a point where the relationship is almost over. And your first response upon her, just squeaking past the finish line before the judges called the race, is to hand her the membership into the Lifetime Hall of Fame. You need to sit down and re-examine your choices here. You've already proposed and it's really too late for that. So you need to have a long engagement where you actually pay attention to events like these and how she learns to handle them. This next line will save you a lot of heartache. If you pay attention to people's actions and not their words, over time, 99% of the population will tell you everything you need to know about whether they will be a positive or negative presence in your life. Don't be one of those people who stares down divorce in a decade or also lamenting, how could she have changed so much? When your friends are all sitting around rolling their eyes, too polite to tell you that she didn't change one iota. You just matured enough to pay attention to the way she treats you rather than the way she talks to you. Very sad indeed. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. Now, our next story does come from a throwaway account titled "My 26 male girlfriend, 24 female is acting weird and hiding things from me." Hello, obligatory English isn't my first language and I'm on mobile. My girlfriend, 24 female, and me, 26 male, lived together since some months now. After the first lockdown, we decided we didn't want to spend so many months apart anymore, and we knew a lockdown was on its way, so we began living together. Perfect idea, as we are now on lockdown again. Also, we are together since nearly 4 years now. Everything is going very smoothly. We are best friends, and living together is a real pleasure. But some things are weird. She sometimes seems very fishy. Like some days ago she looked guilty of something, went in the kitchen, passed by the living room to go to our room, and I saw she was hiding something behind her back. I jokingly asked what it was and she said nothing. I began laughing and asking again, but she got angry and ran to our room to lock herself in. I saw what she had in her hands was a fork. Just a fork. A simple fork. Can't be mistaken. She did this twice this month. The first time I bumped into her and she was hiding 2 spoons behind her back. Then she ran away to our room. I asked her after this happened, why does she hide those things? And she said it is none of my business. Every couple has their secrets. I accepted it, but why spoons and forks? Also, I can see her sometimes doing the same thing, but from our room to the kitchen, simply taking those things back to their place. I never see those in our room though. Now, this is one of those stories where I just don't know what direction it's going to go. Is it some sort of practical joke or game she's playing with you? Is it some sort of, I know this is going to sound weird, but some sort of comfort object? I know it's cutlery. Some sort of tradition or something like that. As I said, I've read so many Reddit stories. Not much will surprise me anymore. At least it wasn't a knife. That's a poo knife reference right there. But I think like in a lot of these stories, I know you've already tried talking, but just be more open about it, saying it's proper. You need to know what's going on in this situation. Just come from a caring place and concern rather than, suspicion or judgment or anything like that. Just to find out what's going on. I mean, you're living under the same roof. And I didn't even point out the most obvious thing. She might be just hiding her dirty knives and forks somewhere. But OP does come back in to update the post. And they said, not many people saw my original post, but If those who did see it wanted an update on it, here it is, and oh boy, what an update. Oh no. After posting, I was scared. Was my girlfriend doing drugs behind my back? Did she have an eating disorder? Should I try to press for more answers? Should I put a camera? Should I take her by surprise and enter the room when she's in there alone? I decided to sit her down and talk. We communicate well, never argue when doing so, usually. But this time, even if I was the sweetest I have ever been, she got angry, really angry. Stop asking about it. No is no. You won't get an answer about it. She got cold after that, for days. Didn't talk to me anymore. Reddit scared me with the drugs and eating disorder comments, so I decided to put a camera in our room. I quickly saw what she was doing with them, and it confused me even more. She just put them in a plastic bag. She put it in a backpack of hers, and then she proceeded to put it in our dresser. After seeing that, I looked for the backpack in our dresser, and there it was. Cutlery, a pan, and a plate. I was even more confused. More questions than answers at that point. So I sat her down again. I took the backpack and opened it in front of her and asked again. She got angry, really angry, then she cried. Then she went away for a walk. She sent me a message 2 hours later to tell me she was at her sister's and would come back when she felt ready. She came back 2 days later because she had to work and had no other choice anyway. And it was her time to sit me down and finally tell me what was up. She was fidgeting and nearly crying, but also laughing, and she said, "I know it's stupid, but I just hate washing the dishes." I asked her what she meant. "I'm sorry for the way I acted about it all, but I was embarrassed to tell you the truth. I hate washing the dishes. And when it's my turn to do so, I take some of the dishes away, hide them, and when it's your turn to wash the dishes, I put them back, so I have less to wash." It made sense. Our rule is whoever cooks doesn't have to do the dishes. I always thought since she cooks fancy meals, that's why I always had to wash so many dishes. At that point, I just laughed because what the fuck? Because it was also incredibly funny somehow. I decided to tell her about the camera. She was offended at first and laughed it off. She said she deserved it and would probably have done the same. Showed her the first post and she apologized for letting me worry so much for so little. All is well that ends well. It's a nice story, to be honest. No grudge. Just a funny story to tell people in some years. For now, she's still way too embarrassed about it, as expected. From now on, I will always wash the dishes and she will take care of the laundry. Edit. Just editing because people are blowing it out of proportions. I won't dump her over this. It's less worse than you believe. It's just a childish thing. I caught her hiding once and she thought it was too late to go back, and she went with it until I found out what she was doing. She got angry because she was embarrassed. She is an anxious person. Some things are hard for her. It just happens. It's 0.1% of who she actually is. I don't see things through rose-colored glasses. I'm very down to earth and see things as they are. A mistake. Yes, it made me do more dishes, but what is one more plate and spoon? Also, we used to alternate. One day was me, one day was her. She never actually put dishes for long in the backpack, and it was also in a plastic bag then in the backpack, as you would take your lunch for work. She is a human, not a simple post on Reddit. So it did turn out that she just didn't want to do the dishes, and I still can't help but be weirded out by that. I know OP's, absolutely fine with the whole thing. But the fact that she couldn't just communicate that she didn't want to do the dishes in exchange for doing the laundry, I don't know, it's not sitting right with me, I have to say that she got so angry about it and trying to hide them, putting them in a backpack. It just seems like way more effort than just washing them up in the first place. And I'm not trying to downplay, it could be something else, like a texture thing, or it could be something to do with textures or something like that, right? But still, you can communicate about it and you can swap chores or whatever you want to do, rather than this whole thing of put him in a baggie and then in a backpack, and there was a pan, there was a plate, there was all sorts of cutlery going on in there. She was verging on a whole dinner set at one point. And when he finally had this sit down talk with her, instead of then talking about it, she got really angry again and then went away. And not just to cool off, she went away for 2 days. I would have been fascinated to know what she told her sister when she arrived at the house, why she's there away from her partner in that moment. Did she tell her the truth? Did she say, "Oh, I'm hiding knives and forks and plates in the cupboard, and that's why I'm here"? I doubt it very, very much. I don't know, man. That's one of those ones that's going to sit in my head for a while I question everything that's going on. Oh dear, dear, dear. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below on this story. What do you think is going on? As always, love to know your thoughts. And just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, your support, your time always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being involved. Truly, and hopefully, I'll see you on the next one. Take care and much love.